Good morning, class. Today we are working on lesson 11.9 out of your GoMath textbook. If you haven't already, please tear out pages 675 and 677 from your GoMath textbook and follow along. Today's lesson is on same perimeter, different areas. So the essential question is, how can you use area to compare rectangles with the same perimeter? Okay. Here we go. Toby has 12 feet of boards to put around a rectangular sandbox. How long, how long should he make each side so that the area of the sandbox is as large as possible? Well, what is the greatest, meaning the largest, perimeter Toby can make for his sandbox? 12 feet, because that's all he has of boards. So 12 feet is the greatest, okay? Remember, perimeter is when you add up all the sides, okay? So what we're going to do is we are going to come up with 3 different sandbox options that total 12 feet perimeter, okay? And we want to find one that's going to make the biggest sandbox possible. And we know it's the biggest sandbox because it will have the largest area, all right? So here's the first one they did for you, okay? And the first one that they did for you is 1 foot by 5 foot. So when you add up all those sides, 5 plus 1, 5 plus 1, which is 6 plus 6, you get 12 feet. So the perimeter is correct. But let's see, what's the area of sandbox 1? 1 times 5 is 5. So sandbox 1 is only 5 square feet. That's it. Let's make another one. What's another sandbox that we could create? Well, what if we did 2 this way, 4 this way? So we would have 2 feet by 4 feet. Let's see if that works. 2 plus 4 plus 2 plus 4, because remember we're adding up all the sides. So that would be 6 plus 6, so that totals 12 feet. So that's accurate. The perimeter is correct. But now let's look at this. We're doing 2 feet by 4 feet. What's 2 times 4? Well, 2 times 4 is 8. So this one is 8 square feet. So we know this one's already bigger than sandbox 2. So let's try a third, okay? All right, here we go. So this time I want to try 3 down, 3 across. Let's make a perfect square. Okay. So I've got 3 feet by 3 feet. Let's check our perimeter. 3 plus 3 plus 3 plus 3. So 3, 6, 9, 12. So the perimeter is the correct amount. And then that means that we are going to multiply 3 times 3 to find our total area, which is 9. So this one is 9 square feet. Okay. So the area of the sandbox is the greatest. Which one? 1, 2, or 3? Well, you can clearly see that 3 has 9 square feet, which is much more than sandbox 1 and a little bit more than sandbox 2. Overall, it is the greatest area, so the greatest sized sandbox, but they all have the same perimeter. That's where it gets tricky. So the area of sandbox 3 is the greatest. So Toby should build a sandbox that is 3 feet wide and 3 feet long. All right, flip your page over. Okay, Draw rectangles with the same perimeter in different areas. So draw a rectangle that has a perimeter of 20 units and an area of 24 square units. Okay, so first of all, if the area is 24, then I know it needs to have a length and a side that a length and a width that multiplied together equal 24. So I know that 4 and 6 multiplied together equal 24. So let's try that. Let's say 1, 2, 3, 4. And then let's go over 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And let's see if this works. All right, so I've got 4 and 6. So 4 and 6 are 10, plus 4 and 6 would be 10, so it's 20 units, so that works. So the sides of the rectangle measure 4 units and 6 units. Okay, so for the perimeter P, you have 4 plus 6 plus 4 plus 6, which equals 20 units. That is correct. And then for your area, you have 4 rows of 6, which equals 24 square units, which is also correct. Oh, sorry, you can't see what I'm writing. Okay. Now, draw a rectangle that has a perimeter of 20 units. So the same perimeter. And an area of 25 square units. Okay, so I know area is length times width. So my length and my width need to equal 25. I can only think of one real scenario to make 25, which would be 5 times 5. So if I had 5 times 5, so my area is 5 times 5, that would equal 25, right? But what if we were doing perimeter? It would be 5 plus 5 plus 5 plus 5. So 10, 20, that equals 20 units, and that's what they're asking us to do. So that works. So we need to draw a rectangle that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it is a perfect square. And it is 5 rows of 5. So you are able to have a shape that has the same exact perimeter, but different areas. And that's the entire point of this lesson. All right, go down to share and show. So the perimeter of the rectangle at the right is, okay, well, it's 2, 3, so 5 and 5 would be 10. 10 units. The area is, well, the area would be length times width, so 6. 6 square units. Draw a rectangle that has the same perimeter as the rectangle in exercise 1, but with a different area. Okay, so the perimeter needs to be 10. Okay. So I know to add up to 10, I need a number that would double to 10, and then I can pick sides. So I know 5 and 5 is 10. Okay, so what length and width would add up to 5? 2 and 3 is already used. 1 and 4. So if I did one row, 1, 2, 3, 4 in that row, and my figure was one row of 4, so that would be P equals 1 plus 4 plus 1 plus 4, so it's 5 and 5, which equals 10, so that's correct. Then the area would be one row of 4, which equals 4 square units. Which rectangle has the greater area? Well, the area of this rectangle is 6 and the area of this is 4. So this one has the greater area. Okay, so that would be exercise 1. If you were given a rectangle with a certain perimeter, how would you draw it so that it has the greatest area? Okay, well, I want you to think about this. Up here, we have a rectangle and we have a square. Which one has the greatest area? This one's 24. This one's 25. The square has the greatest area. Go back to the front page. We had 3 rectangles. 5 feet, 8 feet, 9 feet. Which one had the greatest area? This one. So what are you noticing and is the pattern? These long rectangles do not cover a great area. The closer you can get to a square shape, the larger your area. So if you were given a rectangle with a certain perimeter, which a square is a type of rectangle, how would you draw it so that it has the greatest area? I would try to make a square or as close to a square as I could. All right. Grab your next page, 677. Find the perimeter and the area. Tell which rectangle has the greater area. Well, just by looking at these shapes and what we just talked about, which one do you think is going to have the greater area? Hopefully you said A because it's a perfect square. But let's find out. So we have rectangle A, which is 2 rows of 2. So let's find the perimeter, which would be 2 plus 2 plus 2. They don't really give you room to show your work. So let's do it down here. So 2, 4, 6, 8. So your perimeter is 8 units. Remember, we always label. And if there's no centimeters, meters, inches on there, then it's units. Okay, area. Area would be 2 times 2, length times width, which would be 4. And that would be 4 square units. Okay, let's do the next one. B, we have 1 row of 3. So our perimeter would be 1 plus 3 plus 1 plus 3, which is 4 and 4. So 8 units. So the perimeter is the same. Then our area would be 1 row of 3, which is 1 times 3, which is 3 square units. So shocker, shocker, shocker. The perfect square rectangle A has a greater area. All right, here's what I want you to do. I want you to pause the video and I want you to complete number 7 and number 8 and then come back to check your work. Okay, if you're back, then you're ready to check your work. So first thing I'm going to do, because I'm a good mathematician, is label my rectangles. So I have 2 rows of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And I have 1, 2, 3, 4 rows of 1, 2, 3, 4. Ooh, perfect square. There's something I know about perfect squares. You do too. Here we go. So rectangle A, the perimeter would be 2 plus 6 plus 2 plus 6. So 8 and 8, it's 16 units. And then the area would be length times width. 2 times 6 would be 12 square units. B, Perimeter, be 4 plus 4 plus 4 plus 4, 16. So they have the same perimeter. And then the area would be 4 times 4, which is also 16. So the rectangle B has the greater area, which you should have already predicted since it's a perfect square. Number 8, label, label, label. 5 rows of 4, 3 rows of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6. Okay, so perimeter 5 plus 4 is 9, plus 9, 18 units. Area 5 times 4, 20 square units. B, 3 plus 6 is 9, plus 9 is 18 units, so the perimeter is the same. And then the area would be 3 times 6, which is 18 square units. So rectangle A has a greater area. Now, if you notice, rectangle A is not as long and it is closer to a square. See, it's only 5 on its long side, whereas this is 6. So A is closer to a square, and surprise, surprise, it has a larger area. All right, head on over to Think Central and complete your 11-9 assignment.